Hey, good morning to Cynthia. Welcome, Cynthia. Well, I kind of decided to roll the dice. This is obviously Labor Day weekend. A lot of people will try to break away. They'll take a little trip somewhere. They'll jump on the road. They'll go visit family. They'll just take a break away, a break away from labor. I decided to be a rebel and work on Labor Day weekend by doing this live stream. And it's because there's a little bit of urgency in getting this box open, and you'll see soon enough why I say that, why I say there's some urgency about getting it open. My friend, Ron, from the great state of Arkansas, we don't hear a lot about Arkansas, do we? When Bill Clinton was in office, everyone was talking about Arkansas because that was his roots, growing up in that neck of the woods. I don't know that we've ever gotten a sewing machine from Arkansas before, but Ron and I talked about his machine on the phone, and he said, I really would like to send it to you. There's local places, there's nearer, closer places, but no one that's an expert working with vintage sewing machines like you. So I'm always humbled when folks say that. I mean, there's a lot of places in between. Think about the package that I did an unboxing on. I showed you guys a number of months ago, the one that came from London, England. Imagine how many sew and vacs and mom and pop sewing machine repair places there are between London, England and Oconto, Wisconsin. Wow. So it's great to build a strong reputation and have people recognize that. But all of that blah, blah, blahing thrown to the side. Happy Labor Day weekend. After this live stream, I'm going to take a little bit of time off. I'm going to go see a movie later today. The new Spider-Man movie. Has anyone else already seen that movie? It's out in the theaters now. I've always been a little bit intrigued by Spider-Man, so I'm going to go check out that movie, see what I think. And, sometimes remakes, redos are blah, but we'll wait and see. So I'd like to have some music playing in the background while we're doing this live stream today, this unboxing for this mystery machine from Arkansas that Ron sent here by way of a UPS store. And I'm going to give you the city name of that store so that one of you that really is feeling motivated on this particular Saturday can Google this city and tell us something about this city where this UPS store is located, real close to where Ron lives. And then we can learn a little bit together about this city that some of us have probably never heard of before. Where are my galoshes? Ah, there they are. Let me put these on and let's take a look at where this machine was shipped from. And along with telling something interesting about this city in Arkansas, if someone wants to also tell us the distance that this box traveled from that UPS shipping location in Arkansas all the way to Oconto, Wisconsin, because you'll understand why I'm asking you that once you see some of the concerns I have looking at the exterior of this box. And I've already talked to Ron about this. I've already told Ron, I said, I got some concerns, man. You paid a lot of money. You had them ship it. You had them pack it. I'm not sure how good of a job they did. I'm not. So, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. I didn't wipe off my camera this morning. Let me do that real quick. So you're going to see water splatting on your screen. You're safe. You're safe. No one was harmed. Here we go. There we go. A little bit on there. It gets dusty in the workshop. I've been doing a lot of work. Hold on a second. Almost there. All right. I've been doing a lot of work on this new home. Here, I'll show it to you real quick. Some of you have already seen this. Been doing a lot of work on this new home machine. You can kind of catch a glimpse of it right over there. And I actually had it on the workbench that we're doing the unboxing on. And I had to clear all of this off so that I could have the space to do this unboxing today for Ron. There we go. I got my cord untangled now. But this machine has really come a long way. That's Hank upstairs barking, probably getting another sewing machine delivered right now. It's been really busy as we move in the fall. Not only are people canning stuff, but they're also shipping sewing machines because they're going to be in for the winter and they want to make sure that their machine is all good to go. And at any rate, this is that new home. I don't know if I'll be able to premiere or live stream this or not because it's got to be mounted in a base. It sits real tilty when it's sitting. And then I've got to get onto this one as well, this FOF 230 that belongs to Paula Dorn from South Carolina. And someone looked it up the last time. Paula Dorn, who owns this FOF 230, only lives probably about 30 miles from where Singer used to make their machines in Anderson, South Carolina. So I actually joked, I'd like to deliver this and see if there's any of that Singer factory left in Anderson, South Carolina. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. So anyway, back over here to this box. And also I want to involve you guys every way I can during these live streams in that. So I want you folks today, if you would. Oh, okay. Cynthia shares that she just picked up a 401A, which is a fabulous machine in the Slantomatic series. And I'm just reaching for something over on the desk real quick. Okay, got it. So Cynthia picked up a 401A. Any of you that know anything about the Slantomatics know that the 401A came out right around 1956. And then they made it until 1961. And I just mentioned the Anderson, South Carolina factory that Singer had in South Carolina. That's where they made Cindy's 401A. That's what the A stands for. If you didn't know that, the A stands for Anderson, South Carolina. So yeah, they made that machine, and what a marvelous innovation where you can add plastic cams to the top, or it has cams engineered, a cam stack engineered directly into the machine. So you don't need plastic cams. You can go either way, or you can go both ways. So that's really a great machine to pick up. It's got a lot of service needs, and hopefully Cindy gets that machine running tip top and can enjoy the full function of what the 401A can offer. So great machine. What else? Anybody else in the live chat yet? So I can't greet anybody else officially. I know we have some other folks that are in the live stream right now. And again, I kind of rolled the dice. Labor weekend, you just never know who's going to be available, who's going to be able to jump on a live stream, because everyone is busy, trying to enjoy that little micro holiday that they have. So if it's only a small flock today, that's okay. That's okay. So, and welcome to Roz from the great state of Michigan. And it's always great to have Roz here. You'll notice by her screen name, it says fourth generation quilter. She has a long legacy in her family of quilters. So it's always, it's always great to have people that have that span of experience working with sewing and creating things in our forum, because they can sometimes answer some really tough questions when people are asking about thread types and what kind of needle do you use and all of that kind of stuff that master quilters like Roz knows the answer to. Yeah. Holy mackerel. Wait, I got to ring the bell. I got to ring the bell. I'm ringing the bell because Bill, my buddy, Bill O'Rourke, who's been a part of my leadership team forever, was able to break away from his very busy schedule in Kissimmee, Florida, or if you want to say it properly, Kissimmee, Florida, and join us today. We talked a little bit yesterday, and I said, I know how busy you are, but people love to see you, Bill. They love to see you, Bill. And if you could pop in even for a brief amount of time, got something in my eye. Even if you can pop in for a brief amount of time, people would love to say, hey, Bill, how are you, man? How you doing? So it's great to have Bill here. And that's the thing. We sometimes have folks that are sitting in the shadows, kind of like I talked about with Mindy out in Las Vegas, Nevada, where she was in a number of the live streams, but she was sitting back in the shadows, really soaking everything in. And then she sent me a private note, and then she stepped out into the light the last time, was part of the live chat. Everybody had fun getting reacquainted with her again. So we're all part of the same family here, and it's always exciting, isn't it, to welcome family members back when we haven't seen them for a while. It's like going for Christmas or Easter or one of those big holidays, and you see Uncle George or you see Aunt Betty, and you haven't seen her for probably 2 or 3 years. And wow, you're still alive. No, you wouldn't say that. Don't say Aunt Betty, you're still alive. Don't do that. Don't do that. But hey, great to see you. Hey, you look great. Yeah, and all that. Yeah, All right. So who wants to pick the genre for music today that we can play in the background as we're opening up Ron's sewing machine that is from the great state of Arkansas? I'm going to give you some genre, however you say it, genre. Bill is our resident music expert, so he probably knows how to say that word. Genre. I think it's a J. I have no idea. But I'm going to read off the different music types that I have, and one of you jump in the live chat right away and you pick it, and then we'll play that type of music for this unboxing today. Okay, let's do that. All right. So let's see what kind of genres we have. So we've got alternate punk, ambient, children's, cinematic, classical, country folk, dance electric, hip hop rap, holiday, jazz and blues, pop, R&B, soul, reggae, and rock. Those are our genre choices. So why don't one of you, I'll look at the chat, whoever types it in first, that's what we're going to play. All right. Cynthia was on it. She jumped on it right away, and she picked country folk. So I'm going to play country folk. Yeah. Well, and many of you know, I was raised as a country boy. My dad loved country music growing up in rural Indiana. And so I was raised on Conway Twitty, Merle Haggard, Loretta Lynn, and all of those greats of country and Western music back in the day. And yes, we listened to them in my dad's pickup truck on an 8-track tape. Some of you don't even know what an 8-track tape is. Some of you that are closer to my age or maybe even a little bit older can tell the young folks that might be part of the live stream or might watch this video later, what's an 8-track tape? Yeah, there's been a resurgence of albums. So everybody now understands, the younger folks even understand what albums are or what vinyl is. But 8-track tapes, that's kind of a lost thing, isn't it? I don't think those will ever have a resurgence, but maybe they will. Maybe they will. All right. So thanks to Cynthia, we're going to listen to country and folk music during this live stream today. So if you don't like country and folk music, you should have been quicker with your fingers like Cynthia, because she was like, done. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's get into this. Let's get into this. And I'll show you some of the concerns I have right away. So some of you that follow me on Facebook know that on the same day that this package arrived, and I stepped outside because I was down in the workshop working on that new home machine, and Hank went crazy upstairs. It was a different kind of crazy than when UPS or FedEx delivered. He did a different kind of crazy. And when I went up there, all of a sudden I could see why. And it's because rolling across the front of the workshop porch area where the box was left by UPS, this box right here was billowing smoke. And I later found out, and I posted this on Facebook with a little video clip, later found out that a nearby property, the garage caught on fire, and it also caught their pickup truck on fire too. And then one of my neighbors said they heard an explosion, so the gas tank actually blew up on this pickup truck when the garage caught it on fire, or vice versa. I didn't hear officially whether the truck set the garage on fire or whether the garage set the truck on fire. But at any rate, they both burned to a cinder. And so I walk out on the porch and I'm like, coughing smoke as I'm picking this box up. And right away, I shifted my hands on the bottom of this box. Let me show you why I quickly shifted my hands. You'll see right away. I think you will. Let me bring the camera real close so you can see. So it looks like the young person that Ron described that packed this sewing machine in Arkansas maybe put a single piece of tape across the bottom, but it wasn't enough. And I don't know at what point of the journey from Arkansas to Wisconsin this split open, but it's absolutely a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle that it didn't fall all the way out, because right now, watch it wiggle. The weight of the machine is actually pressing against it. That's what caused that single seam of tape to split. And this could have very easily opened all the way up, and the machine could have fallen to the ground as it was being transported from one building to another, or possibly to one of the UPS trucks. So this is really scary when you see one this poorly packed, especially when the customer paid someone to pack it for them. And the other thing you can see straight away is you can see the bubbles from the bottom, the bubble wrap. That tells me that whoever at this UPS store packed it, they didn't follow normal UPS protocol, and that is to pack it a box within a box. In other words, they would pack this bubble wrap portion of the machine inside of one box, and then they would put that box inside of another box so that it had double protection. Obviously, this wasn't done, because we can see the machine right there as the bottom is split open on this box. So, yeah, this is horrible. And I didn't look at the chat to see if anyone estimated the distance from Arkansas to Wisconsin, but it's not around the block. It's a good distance. It's a good distance. You can see it doesn't even sit level, because the machine is pushing through the bottom of here. So this was shipped. Let me just grab this real quick and I'll show you. And this is obviously the UPS store, but you know what? Let me block that out just in case it's not. Hold on one second here. There we go. Because I don't want Ron to get calls from random people here. So this was shipped by UPS Ground, and Ron told me he paid, I mean, a large sum of money to have it shipped and packed, well over $100, and it was shipped from the UPS store. Hopefully, the camera is able to focus on that. It was shipped from the UPS store in Russellville, Arkansas, on West Parkway, 608 West Parkway. So if anyone, just for curiosity's sake, wants to look up this UPS store and give them a call anonymously and go, wow, you guys don't have a clue how to pack a machine, do you? You don't know how. But yeah, this UPS store in Russellville, Arkansas is the one that shipped this and packed it for Ron. And from what I can see with it falling apart on the bottom and that, they did a really crummy job. So some of the UPS stores that have shipped things, like for Goodwill Online and that, have done a fairly decent job. Others have done a really, really crummy job. And this is one of those stores. If you're in Arkansas, you might want to avoid store 45. What is that? 4564, I think it says. Yeah. All right. So let me get this back up here. Let's start opening this up because I don't want to keep all of you too long on a holiday weekend. Oh, those of you that have taken time out of your busy schedules to join us today, I really am grateful for that. It's awesome to have all of you here. See, speaking of that, I should probably say hello to a couple of other folks as well. Oh, hello to Sunny. Hello to Sunny as well. Welcome, Sunny. Great to have you here. And Emma, welcome to Emma as well. I didn't scroll all the way up, but I think I've greeted everybody. Otherwise, I know one of the leaders certainly has taken time to greet you as well. And the leaders, if you don't know what I'm talking about, over in the live chat, you'll see there's like a little wrench associated with their name. Like Bill just popped up. Bill has a wrench, and so does Emma, and Sonny has a wrench. So these are folks that are very knowledgeable and passionate about what we're doing on this channel. And if you have questions, and I'm busy over here with this unboxing, and I don't see your question pop up, I'm sure that they will try to help you. If for some reason they don't know the answer, they will, by all means, reach out to me or invite you to reach out to me, and I will look it up for you. Actually, you know, the truth be told, I got to give a shout out to Bill O'Rourke right now. Bill O'Rourke, if I can talk on a Saturday. Bill is my master researcher, and he and I have collectively gotten questions from all around the world. I remember one in particular that we kind of tag team. It was from a gentleman in Egypt, and Bill and I were able to finally get this gentleman all the answers he needed. But if research is involved, in all likelihood, because of the fact that Bill is retired now, even though he's very busy, and I'm always buzzing in the workshop, Bill is always very gracious and jumps in and says, Scott, I love research. I will research it and help out this person. So, yeah. So if one of the leaders can't help you during a live stream and it requires research, Bill's probably going to do it. Yeah. Yeah, he will. He will. And he's great at it. He's great at it. Oh, and welcome to DJ Parr. DJ Parr. I have never seen that name before, so hopefully the leadership team reaches out to you, and since you were courageous and jumped into the live chat straight away, they will make you feel welcome. And if you want to share where you're from, that would be awesome. We always love to know where our family is watching the live stream from, so that'd be totally cool. Totally cool. All right. All right, let's put on some more country and folk music. And let's continue this unboxing. Let's continue this unboxing to see if
I'm going to lift it up like this. Watch on the bottom of this.
It's kind of scary. Woo! Don't fall apart.
All right, let's get into this. And I can feel that there's a lot of give on top. You can't feel it with your own hands. If you were in the workshop right now, I'd invite you to step into the live stream shot and feel this box. You guys know, like at Walmart and other places like that, where they use those really crummy boxes for toilet paper, for paper towel, and you just feel the box and it's all spongy. It's like horrible corrugation as far as cardboard. This right here, I think UPS store in Russellville, Arkansas, that packed this machine for Ron. I think they decided they wanted to save money, and they got a hold of an old toilet paper box. That's what this is. It's just horrible. It's real spongy. Really doesn't do anything as far as protecting this machine. So I'm going to cut the top open. Let's see what we see. And again, if you're cutting into something, always set your blade based on how much clearance you think you have, so you don't cut whatever's on the other side. So we've got some of these airbags. These airbags are okay if they're single chamber, but you can see this one is popped right here. And if they're combined chamber, where they're all one chamber and they're joined like this, if you pop one, they all go. And these are okay, I guess, in a pinch, but they do pop very easily. So the better choice is using either packing peanuts or some other type of foam filler that's going to have a little bit more strength and resilience than these things. But again, what do I know? I'm just some little guy in Wisconsin. I'm not a UPS packing store. That's who did this job. Yeah. Now here's a better example of bubble packing wrap. Well, I didn't even show this one to you. I just threw this one on the ground. Here we've got some more of these airbags, and we've got a cluster here that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on a 5 there's only one that's fully intact. So you can see again how these are a little bit more fragile. They're put out by fillair.com if anyone ever wanted to look them up. Fillair.com makes these, but they tend to be a lot more fragile when it comes to taking hits, and then you lose the protection of them. This one has a little bit left in it. So out of 5, you got like 1.5. So, but this is a better choice here. These are going to be individual little pockets, and they're generally going to do a lot better job of providing even protection and being a lot more stable as far as taking hits. So this is definitely a better choice in those bigger airbags. You got some more of that in here. And again, these are just kind of stuck in here as a filler, but you could see when I was jiggling this with the bottom of the box having kind of a give to it because it's split open, the machine almost was ready to fall out the bottom of the box. These are just kind of thrown in there as a consolation, and they're not really immobilizing that sewing machine. The whole idea of, The whole idea of filler stuff like this is to pack it tightly around that machine, whether you're shipping it in a plastic tote like I do, an 18-gallon tote, or whether you're shipping it inside of a cardboard box similar to this. You're wanting to really pack that machine in tight, get it as centered as possible so it's got a field of protection around it, and then you fill that field with stuff like this so that machine is just like, kind of like fitting 12 people into a Volkswagen. Did you ever do that in high school or college or something like that, where you try to fit as many people as you can in a really small car? Maybe it was a Volkswagen, maybe it was a similar type car. And the whole idea is to get just snug in there where you can't even move your arms. That's what you want to do with your sewing machine when it's being shipped, is you want to get it in the center of that box so that if it takes a hit, you know, that box side can go in a little bit, but it's not going to touch the machine. Right now, we've got a sewing machine that literally, as it was being transported from Russellville, Arkansas to Wisconsin, it was so poorly packed and padded on the bottom that the bottom of the machine with a little bit of bubble wrap around it was bouncing against the metal beds on the UPS trucks, bouncing against the cement landing docks as it was moving from one point to another through their zones. And that's the way UPS works. You go from one zone to another, to another, to another. And every time you go from one zone to another, that machine is going to get moved from its little cubby place in that truck or whatever it is to another place. And these people are busy. They're always in a rush. So they're going to be picking this up and going, boom, boom. What's going to happen to that machine potentially as it's being tossed onto cement or tossed onto a metal bed of a truck when there's no real padding on the bottom of this whatsoever, and the bottom of the box is splitting open? It was so poorly packed. And I'm emphasizing this because when I told Ron this, and he goes, Scott, I paid a lot of money. I paid a lot of money, not only to ship that to you, but to pay these people to pack it properly. And I said, I'm going to document what they did so that when we get into this, if the machine is damaged, you've got some recourse. You've got some action you can take against this store in Russellville, Arkansas. Yeah. I mean, I hate to be that way. It's not being vindictive. It's protecting my customer. And that's why we take time. And I'm so grateful that all of you take time to join me for unboxings like this, because we are the witnesses of how these folks are doing. And when you've got a professional outfit like UPS and they're running these stores, and they should be the experts. They should be able to teach me. They should be able to teach you how to properly pack a fragile object like a vintage sewing machine. And yes, vintage sewing machines are oftentimes all metal, but they're still fragile. And the biggest concern when you have something like this where it's packed so poorly is even with bubble wrapper on that machine, when there's nothing else padding it underneath there. Like if some of this were underneath there, it would have been a lot better. But when there's nothing padding it, it still could take that shock wave. You imagine someone's in a rush and they're taking this box and they're kind of giving it a toss from maybe a couple feet up, and it's landing on that cement floor. It's landing on the bed of that truck, which is all metal. It's going to send a shock wave through that machine as well. And damage can result from that. You guys have seen the videos, how powerful sonic action type stuff is, where there's an invisible force like a shock wave, and how much damage it can cause. So that's the other thing. Even when we unbox it today, even though the outside might look okay, once I start digging into this machine for Ron, we might discover that there's damage on the inside as well because of how poorly it was packed. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Yeah. So some of this stuff is just kind of, tossed in there. It's better than nothing, but at the same time, it'd be great if it were tighter in there to immobilize the machine. Yeah. All right. I won't harp on that. Let's do some more country and folk. Country and folk music. Hey. Oh, welcome to Paula as well. I didn't see Paula popped in. Welcome to Paula from the great state of Florida. We got a number of Floridians in the live chat right now, and I didn't see where Cynthia is from. I've got chat replay on here, so when someone watches this later, right now all of you are witnessing it in real time as a live stream, but hundreds of people, thousands of people will watch this later, and they'll be able to actually, as the video is playing, they'll see your chat on the right side in real time with the video play, which is really cool, because then even though they missed the live stream, they'll feel like they were a part of it in a sense, although they can't contribute. So, but it's better than nothing, right? Yeah. So let me show you inside of this box right now, kind of what we're starting with. So here's the machine right here. I'll be honest with you, see how spongy that is? You guys have seen my cocoons before. Some of you have received machines from me that I've shipped that are cocooned. It should not be loosey goosey like this. This is bubble wrap around the machine, but you got to tuck it in nice and tight to the body of the machine using stretch wrap. Really ratchet it down and just tuck that in nice and tight. Right now, look at this. It's real loose, which means it's like riding in a car. All of us are not generally huge fans of seatbelts, right? We don't like seatbelts, and back in the day, they didn't wear them. They didn't wear seatbelts, which was good, bad, and all the other stuff. But the whole idea is the tighter this is in, the less movement that this machine can make, the more likely it is to arrive undamaged. Right now, there's a lot of play in that bubble wrap. And I stand corrected. They did put a little bit of bubble wrap underneath the machine down here on the bottom, but it's not enough. It's not enough to protect this machine when it's traveling all the way from Arkansas. And if you're joining the live chat late, no, this was not shipped by Bill Clinton and his family. Everyone right away, when they hear Arkansas, they think Bill Clinton, whether you like him or not. But no, this didn't come from Bill Clinton. So it came from Ron. And at any rate, I'm not impressed at all with what I'm seeing so far. And there I'm feeling part of the bottom. There I'm feeling part of the bottom of the machine right there, and I can actually feel the metal poking through this on the side. UPS can definitely do better than this. They can definitely do better than this. So let me give you a couple of clues. You're kind of seeing the machine with the bubble wrap right here. Let me give you a couple of clues on the company that made this machine and see if anyone is able to figure out at least the maker of this machine, because we don't see this maker pop up on unboxings or live streams very often. But I'm going to give you some facts on them and see if you can guess it. Put some more music on as well. All right, give you some fun facts on these folks. I like this song. This is a good one. I'll bump down the volume just a little bit. Okay, let me give you some facts on this company. See if anyone can guess it. So this particular company that made the machine that Ron sent to the workshop, they opened up their doors about 15 years after Singer. So that would place it, I'm going to bump this down just a little bit more. That would place it right around 1861 is when this company opened its doors. And I can tell you that they started their operation in or near Akron, Ohio, right around Akron, Ohio. They always wanted to separate themselves from the pack, and that really bugged Singer and other major manufacturers because they were always a company that would one up the other companies and add different design features to their machines that ended up getting copied by other companies. One of the things that they did that was absolutely cutting edge and revolutionary in the sewing machine space around the mid 1800s going into the 1900s is they said everyone else is making pretty looking machines and they're taking this silver finish and they're using a chromium process to make it bright and shiny and pretty. Chromium is what everyone else is doing. We're going to do something different. We're going to do something different because we want to stand out from the pack. So they moved away from using chromium, which was a lot cheaper, and they took all of those silver appointments on their machines, the balance wheel, the stitch length controller plate in that, the face plate and other parts of the machine, and they decided to use silver plating. They used silver plating instead of a basic chromium. And the other competitors absolutely hated them for that because it raised the bar in the quality of their manufacturing off the charts. The other thing that this company did that was also cutting edge, everyone else was buying their lumber so that they could make tables to put their sewing machines in at the factory, just like the factory that I took you on a brief tour of down in South Bend, Indiana, that we did the fundraiser for. Remember that factory down there in South Bend, Indiana? They would make 10,000 cabinets a day, 2 million a year, but they had to get all that lumber shipped in to that factory in the central part of South Bend, Indiana. These folks, again, wanting to separate themselves from the pack, they said, we're going to do it different. We're going to do it different. We're going to set up our factory in an area that's heavily wooded. We're going to harvest our own wood. We're going to have a tributary that runs down to the factory from where the wood is being harvested. We're going to float our own logs right down to the factory. We're going to float them down right to the factory. And then we're going to mill and we're going to finish that wood to make our own cabinets right on site. Right on site. No one else was doing that like this company. No one else. So between saying we're not going to use chromium, we're going to silver plate all of our pretty, I think a lot of you call it the jewelry pieces on the machine, the shiny parts, the throat plate cover, the face plate cover, the bobbin cover, and all that is going to be silver plated instead of chromium like all the other folks are doing. Plus, we're going to harvest our own wood. We're going to float it down our own little tributary. We're going to mill our own mill and work our own wood. And then we're going to make our own cabinets right here on site. So talk about a progressive company. Incredible. Let me give you some more clues on them. I should be looking at the chat to see if somebody already nailed it. That was my thought. White Sewing Machine Company. Oh, hey, Joelle. Welcome to Joelle as well. Now, I'm not looking. Paula was born in Akron, Ohio? How cool is that? Go, Paula. Go, Paula. Go, Paula. Go, Paula. Very cool. So someone guessed the White Sewing Machine Company. You're not completely wrong. But it looks like, and you can look at the chat in more detail than I can, it looks like Paula may have nailed it. Paula may have nailed it with her answer that's just a couple up from the bottom right now. So look at her answer. Yeah, really good. You guys are so smart. I say it all the time. You guys are so doggone smart. So to reinforce Paula's answer, I can tell you that right around 1861, William Mack and N.S. Perkins started making sewing machines like this. And they also made parts as well. And their main headquarters, they were from the Akron area, but their main headquarters that ended up housing a lot of their manufacturing was actually Norwalk, Ohio. I know nothing about Norwalk, Ohio, Norwalk, but I'll bet you Paula knows, having grown up in that neck of the woods, or someone else that knows the Ohio area says, yeah, I know where Norwalk is. I know where that is. Yeah, so if you know anything about that place, by all means, share it. Let me see what else I can share that's interesting about this company. So again, they really ticked off Singer and some of the other major manufacturers. They came on the scene like 15 years after Singer, but they were still making advances that Singer and other manufacturers started copying. And back in the day, around 1869, this company was also the premier manufacturer of vibrating shuttle sewing machines. Singer was still dickering around with reciprocating shuttle machines, and this company had already moved on to advancing the use of the vibrating shuttle. If any of the leaders want to share a little bit about whatever you know, and you can Google it as well if you'd like, but share with our audience, what is a vibrating shuttle? What the heck is that thing? And I'll show you an example of one as they're describing to you kind of how it works and what it does. I'm going to put on some more country folk too at the same time. So these are some examples of vibrating shuttles. They almost look like a little silver bullet, don't they? And what these hold inside, in the absence of, say, a standard type bobbin, is they have what's called a long bobbin or a barbell bobbin, and it kind of looks like that. And these barbell bobbins are really fabulous to sew with. They do an excellent job of distributing the thread evenly through the vibrating shuttle, and they also can hold a lot more thread than most of the bobbins out there. You can sew and sew and sew with one of these, and you're not going to run out readily. So, but they really are a fantastic. And see what I just did? By accident, I ended up sticking that long bobbin into the wrong shuttle. Long bobbins like this come in different lengths. They come in different circumferences. Some of them have this little point on the bottom to encourage it to spin more freely. There's less friction and there's less grip when it's spinning inside of this vibrating shuttle, and so it makes it turn and flow a little bit easier. Not all of them have these. Some of them are flat on the end, like you can imagine that little point being gone. But you really have to make sure if you get a machine that has a vibrating shuttle, but it doesn't have any long bobbins, really make sure that you get that proper long bobbin so that it's going to work in concert with this vibrating shuttle. If you get a machine that doesn't have a vibrating shuttle, be really, really careful, because these were made to spec to that specific machine. So one might look similar, but they're going to operate very differently in the machine. You can even see these two right here that I have as an example. I'll hold them on the bottom evenly. You can see that the profile of these is different. And some of them are going to have the foot in a different spot. Also, the other caution I'll give you is I was contacted by someone one time, and they were very, very motivated to try to do things on their own. So they got this machine that had long shuttle, a vibrating shuttle like this, and they felt the end of it, and it was really sharp, and they thought that's probably not good. It somehow got roughed up, and they sanded it so that the sharp point was gone, and then the machine wouldn't sew. Does anyone know why the machine wouldn't sew when they dulled the point on the vibrating shuttle? Go ahead and type it in the chat if you want to venture a guess. What's the significance of this being a sharp point on the end of there? Yeah. What else can I tell you about this company real quick? Well, there's a lot more I could tell you, and you could certainly Google this company. And Paula did nail it earlier. This machine is a domestic, and domestic also was considered to be a subsidiary or a partner with the White Sewing Machine Company. So that's where someone had typed in White Sewing Machine Company, and they weren't wrong, because White and domestic really work side by side with a lot of their projects, with a lot of their machine developments. And White obviously was a larger force to be reckoned with than domestic. Domestic always kept things down. The other thing that a lot of people bragged about and others were scrutinizing is where other companies were kicking out in one production group size. I've talked about this before. When you look up a sewing machine, say for example on the Singer serial number website, maybe through Ismax or something like that, you'll see when you look up under that serial number, you'll see the year that it was made, the birth date of the machine. You'll see the production group size, which means in that particular production group class, how many machines were made. On average, it's right around 25,000, sometimes 50,000 in one production group size, say for Singer. Domestic Sewing Machine Company said, we're going to do it differently. We're going to use silver plating instead of chromium.
We're going to have our own river tributary and mill our own, harvest and mill our own wood to make our cabinets. And they also took it as far as saying we also want to set ourselves apart by making much fewer machines, because our machines are not going to be made down an automated line where a lot of it is, controlled by the equivalent of a robot. All of our machines are going to be handmade. And so Domestic limited themselves to not 100,000 machines a year, which would still be impressive, not 50,000 machines a year, which would be equally impressive. On average, the Domestic Sewing Machine Company out in Ohio would only make about 25,000 machines a year. 25,000 machines a year. That's what they limited it to, because they were all handcrafted machines assembled by hand, not automated. And some might look at that with admiration, kind of like a Rolls Royce. How many Rolls Royces do they kick out a year? Or did they kick out, back in the day? Very few, because they were all handcrafted. They were all handmade, hand assembled. But again, as manufacturing changes, as the cost of manufacturing changes, some companies have to make adaptations to be profitable. Otherwise, they go out of business, right? So there's reasons to admire. There's also reasons to say, well, that's great. It's great that we started that way, but now maybe we need to look at some changes if we're going to stay a viable company. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to adjust a little bit based on the demands of things. But they still, even with really wanting to do things differently, they were in business from approximately 1869 until 1924. 1869 to 1924. That's a long time to be in business when you're doing things in a very unique, not always the most profitable way, but you really want to stand out from the pack. Okay, let's put some more music on and finish this unboxing. Now this came up as country and folk, but this sounds more like we're at a fun Greek wedding, doesn't it? I want to say "upa" right now, don't you? Oh, hello and welcome to Mindy as well. Mindy from the great state of Nevada. Great to have you here, Mindy. Kind of show you my concern here, and I'll show this also to Ron, who paid a lot of money to have these folks pack this. You can see that this particular machine has cast pedestal feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. These were facing down on the bottom of that box that was splitting open. And the padding on the bottom of here is so poor that they actually cut through this thin layer of bubble wrap. And as this box that was splitting open was being tossed from UPS location to UPS location against cement, against metal in the trucks, these pedestal feet, no doubt, were getting banged against that hard surface. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that we don't see that one of these is snapped off. This is an example of how not to pack a machine. And by the way, I have to brag a little bit. That machine is probably about 40 pounds. It's kind of holding it in an awkward way. I've gotten my workout for the day. Yeah, you'll see the evidence of what I'm talking about with those pedestal feet having punched all the way through and getting banged against the bottom of this box, which had pretty poor
packing. You saw it had a couple layers of this stuff in the bottom, but this is not enough. Like I said, when I show you the bottom of the box, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. What those pedestal legs are able to do to a poor corrugated box with a machine that's packed poorly. All the way through. All the way through the entire box, actually. Here as well. And over here. See that? All the way through. So that means those pedestal feet made it all the way through those two thin layers of bubble wrap padding that was on the bottom of here. They punched all the way through that. They punched all the way through these two layers of this poor corrugated box. And then they were, those pedestal feet that are part of Ron's machine were banging against metal and against concrete, directly against the metal, directly against the concrete, all the way through this box. And then we have another punch through over here on the side of the box, all the way through. Look at my finger on the other side. Where's my finger? There's my finger. So again, all I can say is I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in UPS not doing a better job. I mean, look at this. It's all the way through. It's all the way through here where those pedestal feet on Ron's machine. Now, again, even though the pedestal feet didn't get snapped off, as those metal pedestal feet are slamming against concrete, because they're actually sticking out of the box. They're all the way out of the box. Or this punch through would not have happened here and here. Some reason the weight of the machine must have been tilted back. It went through here and here, but we don't have any direct punch throughs all the way through the second layer of corrugation on this side. But these two over here are getting slammed against metal. They're getting slammed against concrete. And that shock wave is going all the way through Ron's machine, all the way through the machine to all of those delicate internal parts. Just like hitting it with a sledgehammer as this slams against metal and slams against concrete. This should never have happened. This is an example of, okay, if you have kids or grandkids in the room, just kind of shuffle them out of there real quick, because I'm going to use a word that I usually won't use on this channel. This is an example of crap packing. C-R-A-P. I said it. This is crap packing that was done at this UPS store in Russellville, Arkansas. This is just there's no excuse for this. And then to skimp so much on packing tape on the bottom that it splits open like this. I didn't open this. This is how much it's open. You could fit a small child could squeeze through there probably. That's just absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, I would get it's up to Ron, but I would get a refund on whatever he paid them to pack this. You can't get a refund necessarily on shipping it, but I would go back to that store, show them this video and say, you guys need to go back to school. You need to go back to school and learn how to pack. I mean, unbelievable. What a disappointment. Ugh. What a disappointment. All right, let's put on some more music. Ooh, this is a fun one. All right, let's get this box out of the way. It's irritating me at this point. Yeah, I showed you that other box we just did an unboxing on. The corrugation on this box is just horrible. What a crummy box. What a crummy box. What a crummy packing job. We're going to definitely have to do some rewiring on this machine. That's a fun knee controller, isn't it? Look at this. Yeah. Yeah. If you get a machine like this and the wiring looks like that, do not plug it in. Don't plug it in. Not unless you want to get curly hair without going to the beauty salon. Or there. Yeah, it's definitely needs some wiring. But this is a neat little setup, isn't it? Disconnect power supply at wall before using this control unit. Hey, yeah, let's do that. I don't see any, at a glance, I don't see any amperage rating on this. So usually they'll stamp it with what it's rated for, 0.7, 0.8, whatever it is. This one has a lot of information on it, including the patent pending. The patent pending right there, you can kind of see that, just barely, it's real faded. But it does not have an amperage rating on it. But I'm sure that this is the original that would have come with the machine, so we should be good to go. But this was obviously, I didn't ask Ron specifically, but this must have been set up in a table. He pulled it out of the table and then shipped it to the workshop. So, but this wiring is, and that's what happens with some of the coatings that they used on the wiring. The wire on the inside is good to go, but the coating just deteriorates to a point. You can see it right there where you've got bare wires. So yeah, just be careful. If you get a machine, check that wiring real carefully before you plug it in and try to operate the machine. All right. That last one sounded like we had a Greek wedding or something, didn't it? We're still at a Greek wedding. This is great. Just curious how heavy this is. Wow, that was a lot of work. I've calibrated this to 0 now. I'm just going to weigh this and see how heavy this machine is. So you can imagine in your mind as it's being transported and those pedestal feet are banging against concrete and metal, how much weight is pushing down against those pedestal feet. And isn't that a testimony to the quality of manufacturing of the domestic sewing machine company, that where other feet got snapped off, like that FOF 130-6 that came from Dallas, Texas. Remember that? It belonged to Berto, my friend that just passed away. These feet were getting banged against cement and metal, and it appears that they didn't get damaged. So maybe that's why Domestic stood out as the company that made only about 25,000 machines a year, but they built them like absolute tanks. All right, let me turn it like that. So you can see we're at 0 right now. I think you can see that. All right, let's put this on the scale and see how much weight we're talking about. It's not coming in as heavy as I thought. Maybe I didn't drink enough coffee this morning and it felt heavier as I was holding it to show you the bottom of the pedestal feet in that. But It's only coming in at right around 32 pounds, right? 32, 33 pounds. So around 33 pounds is what this machine is coming in at. But again, putting in perspective, it's all metal and it weighs more than, say, a large dog food bag. You've seen the dog food bags at the major retailers. Some of them are even heavier than this. Some of them are like 50 pounds, 40 pounds, but still 33 pounds banging against cement and metal. It's a miracle none of those pedestal feet got snapped off. See, I'm just going to show you again. See how spongy that is? Turn it like this and bring the camera over closer. You've seen my wraps. That should be nice and tight against the machine like that. Imagine almost like remember the old vacuum bag things they would use? They would use a vacuum cleaner or something like that, and they would suck all the air out to preserve the food or whatever it was that they were doing, and it would just pull that bag in nice and tight. How you want it to be around your vintage sewing machine when it's shipped, whether it's coming from Arkansas or England or Japan or anywhere else in the world. It's tight against the body like that, it's going to afford the best protection. And yeah, it's just a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle. I don't see more damage yet. They will not let us leave this Greek wedding. I love Greek weddings. I feel like, yeah, I'm holding a handkerchief right now and we're dancing in a circle. Yeah, we are. Oompa! So UPS, again, being an international company, they only use two thin layers of bubble wrap around Ron's machine. Does anyone remember what I recommend for most sewing machines as far as the layers of bubble wrap that go around the body of the machine? Type in the chat if you remember what I've recommended as far as the thickness of that cocoon that we build around the machine to keep it safe. And again, that's regardless of where it's being shipped to. I pack a machine the same if I'm shipping it to California as I do if I'm shipping it to Virginia, Canada, Japan, Australia, doesn't matter. I packed it the same as when I shipped that one to Heidi in Switzerland. How many layers would you think? How many did I mention? Yeah, Paula's bang on. Paula's absolutely spot on. I recommend between 6 to 7 layers around the body, and UPS in Russellville said Ron's machine is only worth 2 layers of bubble wrap. Only 2 layers. And then we're not gonna cinch it in. We're just gonna willy-nilly throw on 2 layers of bubble wrap, and then we're gonna put a little bit of packing tape so it doesn't fall off. That's it. And we're not gonna do much of anything for the bottom because those pedestal feet, you know what, if they get broken off, they get broken off. Very, very, wow. I can't believe it. So yeah, Paula's spot on. 7 layers is ideal. And then I usually do I create an additional, I'll call it a patch that goes on top. That's going to be about 5 layers thick. It's going to be about that thick on top. And then on the bottom, it's going to be equally thick. Usually a little bit thicker because of the weight of the machine pressing down. So yeah, this is a Ron, get your money back. Whatever you paid him, get your money back. Very, very poor job. Oh, and if, by the way, a quick shout out to UPS in Russellville, Arkansas. A quick shout out to UPS in Russellville, Arkansas. If you take issue with what I'm saying about your crummy packing job, you are welcome to give me a call. My direct line is 920 454 0393. 920 454 0393. As a matter of fact, if one of the leaders would be so kind as to type my cell phone number into the live chat right now, so when the people at the UPS store potentially watch this video and my critique of their packing job, they can see that number pop up in the live chat. So there's no reason that they can't call me, right? So you give me a call and I'll give you the direct feedback on how you can improve your packing method. I won't be mean, but I will be direct and a straight shooter on it, because it's probably one of the worst packing jobs that I've seen. A number of my customers, a number of the people in the live chat right now, if you pay to fly them to your location, they can coach you as well as I can, because they've seen this packing method done again and again and again, the proper method. They'll be able to step you up to a new level on how to pack your machines. But you got to pay for their hotel. You got to pay for their transportation. Because they're part of the Cow Country family, I think from the airport to your location, some sort of a limo would be appropriate. It doesn't have to be a stretch limo, but a nice limo. Some refreshments in the back, maybe a couple snacks. Yeah, because, they might fly in from California. You never know. That's a good distance. Yeah. Yeah. All right. There we go. Yeah. All right. So then we're starting to see on the inside, and again. Now this is finally country folk music we're getting after all of the oompa music. So they only went 2 layers of bubble wrap, and like Paula pointed out, it should have been more than 3 times that thickness. Should have been about 7 layers of bubble wrap, and they should have cinched it down with stretch wrap to press that against the machine, so that that padding was really creating a nice cocoon, a nice shell around the machine. What it was is it was just willy-nilly attached. It was real spongy. Crappy job. And then they added a little bit of packing paper on the inside, which is better than nothing. But again, it's not going to do the job like packing it properly will. So it's not going to do the job. And I know UPS, I've witnessed them. They use this stuff a lot. If they used a ton of it, like inside of that box around this cocoon, and they had cocooned this properly, a ton of this stuff, really, really packing it in tight, would have done a fairly decent job. But they didn't. They could have, but they didn't. Yeah. We're finally getting a glimpse of this incredible machine. This fabulous machine. And yes, it has kind of a flat finish on it, doesn't it? You kind of start to catch a glimpse of that right there. Does anyone remember what this type of finish is called? This type of finish right here? Get a little bit closer. Type it in the chat if you remember what that finish is called. It's used on a number of machines, including some of the Singer machines as well, adopted a similar finish like this. It's not high gloss, but it's still very attractive and still very beautiful. So as we're looking at beginning to see Ron's machine here, we're looking at this balance wheel. What is this again? Is this chrome? What is this plate right here for the stitch length control? And you notice that on this domestic machine, it has a very unique adjustment for forward and reverse. So you can adjust the stitch length specifically for a certain length, whether you're sewing forward or whether you're sewing backwards. Another progressive thing that they did that no other manufacturer was willing to make the investment in, giving sewists the control over stitch length, whether they're sewing forward or backwards. And then obviously this is the reverse right here. Yeah. And what is this made out of right here? Is this chromium? That chromium right there? What about this? Is this chromium? How about this plate over here by the upper tension? Is that chromium? You guys are so smart, I can't fool you. You know what it is. You know what it is. I can look at the chat right now and you guys already nailed it. You already nailed it because you guys are so doggone smart. Yeah. All of you are correct. It is. It's silver plating. That's absolutely spot on. And yes, it is called a crinkle or a Godzilla finish. This is kind of a more of a subdued Godzilla finish. Some of them are real bumpy looking. The Singer models, the Class 66 versions in particular, came out with some real bumpy crinkle or Godzilla finishes. This one is a lot more subdued. Domestic wanted, kind of the effect, but they didn't want it to be really, really bumpy looking. But isn't it a wonder that they limited themselves to 25,000 machines a year, approximately, a fraction of what the other sewing machine manufacturing companies were kicking out the door. And then they did all the other innovative things to really make themselves stand out. They wanted to be the best. They didn't want to be able to brag about the highest numbers or even the highest profit, which is pretty commendable. They wanted to be the best of the best, kind of like Rolls-Royce or any of the other premier automobile or motor car. They don't care how many they make a year, but the ones that they make, guess what? They're going to be the cream of the crop. And that's the way Domestic felt. That's why they did what they did. But I think it's a lovely machine, don't you? This right away gets me hungry for chocolate when I look at the color of the machine, that kind of a chocolatey color. And Kenmore made some of their machines like this as well, that had this beautiful kind of this, I'll just say chocolate color. Some of you might call it a different color, but to me, I always think of, kind of eating a chocolate creamy. Oh, I'm getting hungry now. I didn't have any lunch. Yeah, I better stop. But what a beautiful machine. Let's take the rest of this off. I'll put on some more music and we'll wrap up this live stream so you can begin to enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Oh, and see what I say by we learn from each other? We learn from each other all the time. You are fellow teachers, and Roz is sharing that she has a white sewing machine also with that beautiful chocolate color. And see, I've never seen a white necessarily in that chocolate color, but Roz had one. That's why I love this classroom. We discover things from each other. Like, I didn't know that. Hey, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And that's why I say, unlike other places where someone like me will take the leadership role and you better follow me, don't, blah, 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 blah. Poop on that. We're going to learn from each other. We do all the time. Isn't it wonderful? Very cool. So white, and again, white was kind of walking hand in hand with Domestic. So that makes sense. They ended up making some of their machines similar to this one. I think it's such a pretty color, don't you? Such a pretty color. Wow. We're back to the Greek wedding again. So if some of you didn't eat enough at the first wedding with the Greek music, dig in. There it is. There's the buffet right there. Jump in. Jump in. Jump in. All right, let's get the rest of Ron's machine unpacked. And again, not to insult anyone's intelligence, but if you're using scissors to open up a machine like this that you get shipped to you, just angle those blades all the way and kind of cut with the blades pointed up a little bit. It seems obvious, but if we're excited and we're in a rush to see that machine, we sometimes can make a mistake, can't we? Yeah. and where a lot of the manufacturers, as far as powering the machine, almost all the manufacturers at that time were either using a treadle machine like my good friend Bill O'Rourke has down in Kissimmee, Florida. Does anyone know what kind of Singer model machine Bill O'Rourke has down in Kissimmee, Florida? I've mentioned it to you before, but his machine down there is powered by a leather lead, a treadle style belt. And it's just a gorgeous machine. I think he sent me a picture of it a long time ago. It's a lovely machine. But I wonder if anyone remembers what that machine is. Yeah, Paula's right. It's a red eye, but be even more specific. What kind of class machine is it? And if you know the subclass, it'll be really, really impressive. I didn't know you were Greek, Mr. Bean. I thought you were English. Oh, Mindy has to take off. Bye, Mindy. Thanks for joining, kiddo. Great to have you. So a number of you you're spot on in saying it's a class 66 that Bill has, but Bill actually has a class 66-1. 66-1. And the unique thing about that model is when it was built, it was designed one and only to be a treadle machine, never, ever, 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 ever to be electrified or never to have a hand crank put on. It was designed specifically as a treadle only machine by Singer, the 66-1. The other unique thing that makes it stand out right away, if you happen to own a class 66 machine, even like Paula said, a red eye machine, and a red eye machine right away stands out. And I wish on this live stream, I've sent this feedback a couple of times to YouTube. I would love if folks that are part of the live stream, if they have something to share by way of a photo, and certainly any of my leadership team, if we get some nut that would post an inappropriate photo, one of the leadership team would jump up right away and block that person, delete it, blah, blah, blah. But I would love where we're talking about a machine and someone says, yeah, let me post a picture of mine. Wouldn't that be fun if we could do that? So yeah, if anyone has any real connections with YouTube, like the big shots that make all the decisions, I would love to see people that are attending a live stream being able to have the ability to post a picture, because then we could say, oh, that's what a red eye looks like. I might even have one within reach. Let me see if I do. Oh yeah, this is the one that came. We're talking about poor packing, right? We're talking about poor packing. We had this red eye, which is going to get a complete restore. It's going to get brand new paint, brand new decals, the whole shebang. But if you remember, this one arrived from Montana. Actually, it arrived from Miles City, Montana. And if you remember the fundraiser we did for the Humane Society with the Willy Wonka theme, Mike TV, remember obnoxious Mike TV? That's one of the golden ticket finders in the original movie with Gene Wilder. He's from Miles City, Montana. But this customer sent this machine from Miles City, Montana. And this is an example of a red eye pattern, but it's very, very faded, isn't it? And someone has tried to clean this red eye. And what they did is they took the gold leaf finish off. And when you do that, when you use, say, an aggressive cleaning agent, because you want to get all that caramelization, all of that varnishing off of the paint, you want to try to make the machine shiny and beautiful again. If you go too far, you remove the clear coat, and then you actually remove the gold leaf coloring on the decals, and you get like a silver type finish like you're seeing here. But this this beautiful lady from Montana, she didn't have this happen in shipping. She ended up dropping this machine onto the hard concrete, and it goes back to this machine that came from Ron. Why concrete can create such a problem for our vintage sewing machines. And this is what happened. You might remember this. This is what happened to her machine when she dropped it. Right here. You can see the little bubbliness to it where it's a cast material. And yes, it's metal, but it's very fragile because it has all those little air pockets where it's cast in the molds at the factory. And so if it hits concrete in the wrong way, it can break off that whole section just below the pillar there. So, but yeah, if you're going to clean up your machines, just be careful. Don't use something real aggressive or you'll end up damaging the decals like on this machine here. The gold is completely gone and we're down to silver now, just like on here as well. All right, let me get this out of the way. We'll get back to Ron's machine. Boy, I wish I could have visited this factory back in the day. Just, you can imagine talking to the employees that were part of the team and making Ron's machine, how proud they would have been of the way that they were distinguishing themselves from the way everyone else was doing it. They didn't want to be like everyone else. It's kind of like us at Cow Country, being part of the Cow Country family. We don't conform to what everyone else is doing. We step out there with our knowledge and our passion and we transform. Don't be a conformer in life, be a transformer. And I'm not talking about like the kids' toys that can do all that fun stuff, although that'd be kind of cool too. All right. You have to look really close here. You're gonna have to look really, really close. I'll try to get the camera real close to show you. But here you can see one of the punch throughs on that bubble wrap right there for one of the pedestal feet. And you can actually see parts of the machine was getting banged around hard enough that parts of the patina, the paint, most likely near the bottom of the bed area, actually were getting knocked off. That's actually a piece of paint if you can't see it in the shot. And yeah, it's just a tiny little speck, but it gives you an idea. Here's more of it over here. Gives you an idea of the impact that this machine was taking, that shock wave going through it because of how poorly it was packed. You know, with these real thin layers of bubble wrap, those pedestal feet going through this bubble wrap, going through the corrugated, the very poor corrugated box, and then those pedestal feet of Ron's machine were making direct contact with cement and with metal. And it was shocking that machine so badly, little flecks of paint were actually coming off of the machine. You can see that in the bottom of this bubble wrap here. So that's where my concern is. What am I going to find when I start to really get into Ron's machine? What damage potentially happened from somebody being real negligent about how they packed a fragile vintage machine? Yeah, I agree with Sonny. I think pictures would be fun. And then it becomes the leadership team, you know, it becomes their responsibility. Just before, we had that one person that was posting the porno links or whatever. And right away, I never even give it a second thought. I know that Sonny or Emma or Paula or Bill or Veronica or Michelle, who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting somebody. Help me out, guys. At any rate, all of the leaders are just going to jump all over that. So I think we could manage it well. You get some knucklehead, and I don't mean this in a cruel way, but our buddy from Norway, you know, who always kind of pushes the limits, Dr. T. Haven't seen him for a while. Hope he's okay. But he's been muted. He's been muted a couple of times by the leadership team because he posts things that are edgy or inappropriate for our audience. So I think we could manage it well. I think YouTube should add that option. Give people that are in the live stream the opportunity to post pictures and to have that extra dynamic of sharing. I'm totally in support of it. I think it'd be awesome. So this is a beautiful machine. It really is. It's a beautiful. There we go. It's a beautiful machine. The patina on it, we'll get a lot closer to this machine and take a closer look at John's machine. But it's apparent to me why he made the investment of getting it to the workshop and then, funding this project as well. This will be a great machine to see on a live stream and a premiere as it's sewing off. And you've seen similar domestics like this on the channel before. And this is, you know what? We presented one very similar to this. And then I also did a demonstration on the channel. You guys remember that? We talked about the properties of magnesium. We talked about the properties of magnesium being 33% lighter than aluminum. And there were certain select manufacturers that used magnesium to create their machines. And two of those manufacturers were the White and Domestic Sewing Machine Company. There may be some other manufacturers out there that dabbled with magnesium, but Domestic was most noted for that. And you could tell straight away, looking at their model number, that it was a magnesium machine, not just by lifting and feeling how much lighter it was, but you could look because they always would have the preceding numbers of MG. Remember that? MG 153, blah, blah, blah. And you knew right away by that MG prefix, hey, that's a magnesium machine. And if any of you watched my demonstration of magnesium, you remember some of the cool things we did to confirm that it was magnesium. We used things like vinegar to see what chemical reaction we get. We applied fire to it. And it's a beautiful material. It's a lot lighter than aluminum, 33% lighter. It's like 68% lighter than steel, but it's also very flammable. So yeah, like I joked about when I did the demonstration, if you found yourself in a factory that was manufacturing machines from magnesium, you'd want to look for that exit door real quick because it would be the equivalent of like I don't know, gunpowder, nitroglycerin, something like that. It's dangerous stuff when fire is applied to it. Very dangerous stuff. Oh, pool noodles is that's a brilliant idea, Joelle. I think Emma uses pool. She's doing shipping to the workshop. She did that, I think, with Bandit, her 222K, her free arm featherweight. I think so. All right, let's wrap up this live stream. We'll just kind of go around. We're not going to plug it in because I already showed you the wiring on Ron's knee control assembly here. It's very dangerous. We're not going to do that. But let's get closer to this machine and take a look at it so you can appreciate the craftsmanship of a company that really broke away from the pack and did some amazing designs that were later copied by other manufacturers. Silver plating. Silver plating. Silver plating. Silver plating. Silver plated. Silver plated. Silver plated. Silver plating. And here you can see this serial plate right here. You notice that there's not an MG. Some of these were made with steel or metal. Others were made with magnesium. This one does not have the MG prefix. And so we know right away that this is not made. This is not made. There it is. This is not made from magnesium because it doesn't have that MG prefix. So if any of you own a domestic And you really never understood the uniqueness of this company, the craftsmanship that they put into their machines. And let's say yours has an MG prefix, then you know that you've got a silver plated machine that's made out of magnesium. Magnesium is pretty doggone costly to manufacture with, definitely. Even our bobbin winding assembly is silver plated as well. You see that right there. And this machine, again, because domestic was so progressive and they didn't want to be like everybody else, they wanted to be unique and different and stand alone. Instead of going with a belt with a motor mounted on the back, they said, we want to be different and we want to have a different way of giving the machine locomotion. Does anyone know what this type of setup is called? This has a spring in it. See that? It has a spring so that you can rotate the motor away. And then when you let it go, that spring presses this into the balance wheel to give the equivalent of positive traction direct drive. You never have to replace a belt on this. You might have to replace this, but there's no belt slippage like you get on a lot of the other machines. What is this thing called? Does anyone know? Yeah, Emma's spot on. This is called friction drive. This is a friction pulley system. It's a friction pulley system. And the only tricky thing is, obviously, when I service Ron's machine, I'm going to pull this motor apart. I'm going to service the motor. I'm going to take this pulley off. Is just make sure that you've got this pulley needs to be replaced, because when it sits resting against, I'll see if I can show it to you in a clear shot here. When it sits resting against the balance wheel, and this is where some people will pull if it's going to be sitting for a while, not in use, they'll pull this motor away from the balance wheel and they'll put something in between. For lack of having something better, I'll use some of UPS's paper. They'll stick something in between there like that, so that that pulley is not pressing against the balance wheel. When it sits against the balance wheel for an extended period of time, it causes a little dimple. I wonder if you can see that in the shot. I hope you can. But it creates a little dimple, which means that it's not riding evenly. If you could feel that with your finger, it's very evident. It creates an uneven run with that friction pulley against the balance wheel, and then you do get slippage. You do get that pulley slipping because it doesn't have a smooth, even surface to run against that balance wheel. So if you happen to own one of these machines that's driven by friction drive and by a friction pulley, if you're not going to be using that machine for a period of time, pull that motor gently away and put something in between the pillar and that motor so that it's not making contact with that balance wheel, creating that dimple issue. Oh yeah, I'm finally looking at the laptop screen. I'm like, boy, you can really see that dimple on there. Holy mackerel. It looks like one of Nanny McPhee's warts or something like that when you go away. Yeah, it does. And the other thing is, make sure if you replace a friction pulley, which you'll eventually have to do, and I'll do this on Ron's, make sure that you get this rubber friction pulley surface evenly on that balance wheel. I'll kind of let this go. Make sure that it's centered spot on so that you're getting the full benefit. It's just like having a better tire on your car. The more rubber surface you have on the road, the better traction, the better launch you're going to get. And it's true of this as well. So when you put it back on, that pulley is either going to be mounted in or out. Make sure it's mounted center mass right on that silver plated balance wheel so you get the best traction possible. And this particular motor with its nomenclature plate is going to be watts and volts and also cycles as well, AC, DC, etc. Does anyone want to make the effort of looking up, based on this nomenclature information, what size motor are we looking at here? Because it doesn't give us the amperage like most motors. It just tells us watts, volts, and cycles. And I know there's conversion things on the internet that will allow you to convert this. So if anyone wants to look that up, that would be super cool. That'd be great for us to know that. It'd be great for Ron to know it as well. So go ahead and look at that information. There we go. Look at that information. If you want to post it in the chat, then we'll know approximately what amperage this is. Cool. All right, some more country folk music as we wrap up this live stream. I think we're back at the Greek wedding again. If you didn't eat enough, there's hope. We're back at the buffet again. Holy mackerel. Fill up your plate. Fill up your plate, for goodness sakes. For some reason, they consider this style of music to be country folk. And this particular song is called Hava Nagila. I know this because this was also played at every Armenian wedding that I ever went to. And I grew up, most of you know this, I grew up Armenian. My mom was 100% Armenian. So I know this song, and I danced at many weddings to this song. Yes, I did. Has anyone else ever danced to Hava Nagila? Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'll let you listen to it. Yeah. So anyway, if anyone wants to convert that, that'd be cool. Oh, Bill has to go away. Bye, Bill. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. And I never shared Bill's machine. The unique thing about Bill's machine is on his presser foot, you screw the attachments on from the back, not from the side like most Singer machines. That sets the 66-1 apart from all the other Class 66 models. Yeah. I didn't know if I mentioned that. I think I forgot to. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap this live stream up. This is Ron's 153 domestic. Again, made out of steel, not made out of magnesium. Thanks for joining, everybody. Have a safe and blessed Labor Day weekend. This is a great song actually to end to. Look at that presser foot clearance too. Amazing presser foot clearance on these 153s. Plus they have a hyperextension. Look at that. You got a thick quilt? I got you covered. Look at that clearance. Amazing. All right, y'all take care. Thanks for joining. Thank you to the leaders for making everybody feel welcome. And thank you to Ron for getting this machine to the workshop. And now you can go to UPS and give them some feedback. Mr. Bean is protecting it because it's silver plated. Yeah. Have a great weekend, everybody, and a quick hello to Susie. Hello, Susie. All right, take care, everybody. The chat will stay live when this ends if you want to wrap up some conversations real quick, okay? Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye.